Boris Schlossberg, Managing Director at BK Asset Management.
BK Asset Management's Kathy Lien.
Boris Schlossberg, Managing Director at BK Asset Management.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. This is Kathy. If you can hear my voice, see my screen, please say hello. Let me know that everything is working on your end and that we are good to go. Let me know. Good morning, Miss Actor. Good morning, Jeff. Good morning, everyone. Andrew, hello, everyone. Welcome. We are kicking off this trading week with quite a bit of movements in the markets. Pretty big moves for the most part, which is unusual because we don't have a lot of data. But once again, it's headlines, news flows that's driving the markets. We'll dive all into that, but I did want to say good morning. It looks like, thank you, Denard. Sounds good. Trader Brian, thank you so much. Looks like the video is good as well. First off, I want to ask, how many people here attended our gold trading class on Saturday? Raise your hand if you attended our gold trading class on Saturday. If you didn't, just say no. Let me know whether you attended our gold class. Good morning, Tom, Kwanli, Chioba. I'm so glad all of you are here because Monday is when we learn, prepare, and get ready to trade for the new trading week. So it's a very important part of the trading process because we need to know what to anticipate. We need to know what the big stories are. We need to know what is the main focus so that we can really go ahead and make sure we're putting together the smartest trades. It sounds like a lot of you joined our gold trading class. Not everyone was there. Tom says it was a busy marathon weekend. It was a very, very valuable session. Boris, if you don't mind sharing the recording, I encourage you to do that. We also are kicking off with our official gold trading classes on Friday. So he's going to drop you those links as well, because I know that many of you trade gold and, we got a surge today and the gold trade, really is kicking. It's not going away. It's definitely something that continues to impact the markets. So with that, let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in the markets. I'm going to go ahead and share with you my screen because I do want to talk about, generally speaking, what to expect. But the first thing that we have to do today, the first thing, I always do is to just kind of look at what's going on. And then I try to figure out, what is driving the story. So first and foremost, I'm going to share with you my screen. And you will see here that gold is in the buy zone. And and this is my ZIP indicator. And part of the gold trading course, you get 3 months of ZIP, or you can just get ZIP itself. ZIP entered the buy zone in the London session at 4 or 5 a.m. These are 1-hour charts. And so when it enters the buy zone, that means, we've got this really nice breakout to the upside in gold, right off of this break of this swing high here. Enter the buy zone, and via the ZIP indicator was a strong signal that gold was going to rally, especially when it closed at its highs. And look at this, I don't know how many of you watched my candlestick video that I posted on YouTube. What is this candle? Pop quiz. Anybody know what this candle is called? Let me know if you know what this candle is called. Pop quiz. You're my MVP is the first person who can tell me the name of this candle. It is one of my favorite candlestick candles. Come on. And if you don't know what this candlestick is, give me a question mark, which is perfectly fine, because that is also the reason why you should be watching this video on the 10 most bullish and bearish candlesticks. This is the most bullish candlesticks. Yes, Isaac is the first one. Marubozu. You didn't spell it right. It's okay. But 100% accurate. Marubozu. This is one of the most powerful trading candles you can get out there. And what it is you can get, it's basically where, even in some ways, this is also a Marubozu candle where, there's basically no wicks. This one has a little wick on the bottom, but there's basically no wick. So it opened and then just soared and then stopped at the high. These are Marubozu candles, which are the strongest technical candles that you can get out there. And as I said, if you go to our YouTube channel, my latest video this week, which is your homework, I'm going to give you some homework. My latest video this week, which is your homework, just click on videos, latest 10 candles that reveal market direction. That is your homework to watch this video after the live stream, because those are Marubozu candles, and they are probably the most powerful candles that you can see in the market. So we had, gold moving into the zip buy zone. We had 2 Marubozu candles. So these are very strong candles, and it indicates that, we not only have seen a rally in gold, but should continue to see a rally in gold. But the real question is, what's driving all this, right? That's why we're talking today, because we can all look at charts, we can all learn about technicals, but what's really driving the movements today? Well, first off, before I answer that question, we've got we got to look at what's going on elsewhere. We've got a sharp sell-off, and you can't see it in this one, but let's go to just the price chart. The price chart shows you that we have a pullback in Dow futures. Dow futures are down 0.5%, which is not a lot, but still an okay move. S&P futures also falling. We have gold prices surging, and we have the US dollar, if you're looking down here, down across the board. It's down against euros up, so dollar's down. It's down against the Swiss franc. It's down a lot against Japanese yen. Yen pairs are down a lot. US Treasury yields are up. Now, we have had a disconnect between what's going on in US Treasury yields and the dollar for one very important reason that actually tells you the same story, which is that, the US dollar is selling off, bond yields are going up, because bond yields and bond prices move in opposite directions. So bond yields go up when bond prices fall. So that means that people are selling dollars and they're selling US Treasuries. And that's really the main story of the day, which is that people are selling US dollars for one very important reason. And a little bit of what we see here. I'm going to put up the Taiwan dollar, which we never look at, but it's so important. I mean, look at this move. I'm going to go on a weekly chart. Actually, stay on the daily chart, and let's span out. Look at this. This is like an 8% move, 8% appreciation in a currency that's supposed to be very, very stable. And so we've got an 8% appreciation in a currency that's very stable, and it's all tied together. It's the reason why the yen is so strong today. It is the reason why the dollar is so weak. It's the reason why gold is up so much. And it's also the reason why it's not really the reason why stock futures are flat, but it can contribute to it. Before I explain that, Nathan, your question is, what time frame chart was this gold on? And this is on 1 hour charts. The ZIP is traded on 1 hour charts. Okay, so back to this. What is the story today? The story today is, first off, we've got this massive appreciation in the Taiwan currency, which we never look at. And that is happening for one of 2 reasons. One, it's tied to the drop in bond prices, which is that Taiwanese investors who have a lot of money are moving out, are dumping US assets and moving the money back to Taiwan. So you're seeing the dollar plunge against the Taiwanese dollar. But that's not the real story, because everyone's been liquidating for a while. So why this 8% move in the market? This 8% move in the Taiwanese dollar, which is the biggest move we've seen in the currency in, I think, since 1988, is caused by 3 things. One was what we just talked about, which is the possible exodus of U.S. assets by Taiwanese investors. Number 2 is people think that Taiwan are basically, people are buying the Taiwanese dollar because they think that Taiwan is allowing its currency to rise in value, go up, in order to appease the US for a trade deal. So this is very important because we're kind of in trade deal central right now. Okay, so I'm gonna write Taiwan appreciating currency to get trade deal. How does this work? Let's think about it. So Taiwan, if they allow the currency to appreciate, that basically means that basically causes the US dollar to fall. So how would this make the US happy? It would make the US happy because, Trump wants US goods to be more competitive. And they also obviously want Taiwan to be able, other countries like Taiwan to be able to buy US goods. And so by having a stronger currency, they can say, look, we're letting your currency be cheaper so that, our people, the Taiwanese, will buy US goods because they allow their currency because our currency is stronger. And we deter Americans from buying our goods, semiconductors, things like that, because we're making our currency more expensive. So the reason why this is a big deal, because I know many of us don't really follow the Taiwanese currency or really put a second thought to it. The reason why this is a big deal is that this could be a tactic that other countries do. This could be a tactic that we see more of, which is important to us as currency traders, as gold traders, as indice traders, because it can lead to further US dollar weakness. Now, the third reason why we may be seeing the dollar fall across the board and we may be seeing the Taiwanese currency rise so much is because of something called the Mar-a-Lago Accord. Now, how many of you don't know what the Mar-a-Lago Accord is? If you don't, give me a question mark. If you do, say yes. Do you know what the Mar-a-Lago Accord is? Or have you not heard of it at all? You have no idea what I'm talking about? Give me those question marks. If you want to know what this Mar-a-Lago Accord is, that is potentially one of the main reasons why the dollar is so weak. I love it. So many question marks. I love Joe's tripled question marks because it is so important. Okay, this is not Joe. Where's Joe? All of you are giving me question marks, which is fantastic. What in the world is the Mar-a-Lago Accord? Well, first off, if you Google it, you can get a lot of information yourself, but I'm going to give you a 60-second explanation, but I encourage you to read this. If you click on Mar-a-Lago Accord news, everyone is talking about the Mar-a-Lago Accord. So Mar-a-Lago Accord, new era for the dollar. So the Mar-a-Lago Accord right now is not official yet. It's just like rumor and talk. But it seems like a lot of Trump's top advisors are pushing for this. So it's kind of like it's modeled off of the 1985 Plaza Accord, which I'm sure many of you don't know much about. You may have heard of it, but you may not know much about the 1985 Plaza Accord. But the whole goal of the 1985 Plaza Accord is to weaken the US dollar in order to make US goods more attractive. And the whole, quote unquote, plan of the Mar-a-Lago Accord, or the 1985 Accord, the key objective is to weaken the dollar, rebalance global trade, or make U.S. trade more competitive, and to also, kind of deal with the massive deficit that the U.S. has, to shrink the deficit. The most important thing for all of you to know is that in order to achieve this, it's going to be through tariffs, currency appreciation, as well as, something called debt swaps. But us as traders, the most important thing that you need to know, and you can do more research if you want on this later, but I'll do a quick video, is that if we get a Mar-a-Lago Accord, it means tariffs to some degree remain in place. Other countries appreciate their currency, or basically let their currency rise in value, and the dollar falls. Dollar, in some ways you can say it's dollar, I don't want to say devalue, but this is what it is. So if we get, as if there's more and more talk, and for some reason this weekend, today, there's been talk of Mar-a-Lago Accord, if it becomes becomes more of a talking point in the markets, you're going to see the dollar fall. So that is why I am telling you this, because we don't trade the Taiwanese dollar. We don't really care about it, right? But we do trade dollar yen, and we do trade the euro dollar. We do trade these other currencies. And if there's more and more conversation about the Mar-a-Lago Accord, that will mean further weakness in the dollar, particularly against the yen, because the yen is seen as a proxy for Asia. And a lot of the trade talks right now are centering around Asia. And we'll see more strength in euro and Aussie and pound and Kiwi. It helps you explain what is going on in the markets today. So that's the backdrop. The big stories is number one, Taiwanese dollar soaring, a signal that other countries may be looking to appreciate their currency in order to get a trade deal with the US. Dollar tanking because a possibility of talk of a Mar-a-Lago Accord. And, also there's some talk that there could be semiconductor tariffs coming that maybe is encouraging Taiwan to move quickly. Of course, that's not the only thing that we have to worry about this week, right? This week, we also have a relatively busy economic calendar. If we look at the calendar, the 4th to the 9th, and we filter only by the highest impact events, you will see the big events are ISM services today, which is probably expected to be weaker because the service sector is doing a lot more poorly than the manufacturing sector. We have New Zealand jobs, which, market looks for an improvement. I think there could be a deterioration. But the two big events is FOMC rate decision and the Bank of England's rate decision, which we'll talk about in a minute. Then we also have the Canadian jobs report. These are the main events of the week. So even as we walk into this new trading week with some, unexpected developments in the Taiwanese currency, the Mar-a-Lago Accord, the semiconductor tariffs, the focus on tariffs in general, and, India and intensive talks with the U.S. this week on trade. We also have the Fed rate decision. We also have the Bank of England's rate decision. And that is something also very important to pay attention to. Now, with the Fed rate decision, remember, we always like to put ourselves into the shoes of the central bank. And so I have created the Federal Reserve table to basically help us think about whether or not the Fed should cut interest rates. But as you can see here, the market is not pricing in a Fed rate cut. The market is thinking that the Fed is not going to change interest rates, but they do think that the Bank of England is going to cut interest rates. So let's take a look. Should we agree with them? So let's start with the Federal Reserve. So right now, you can see the table I produce every single month for the Federal Reserve's rate decision. Now, taking a look at this, do you think there's been more improvement or deterioration in the U.S. economy since the last Fed meeting? If you say improvement, say up. If you think there's been more deterioration, say down. Let me know whether you see on this table whether there's more improvement or deterioration since the last Fed meeting. Is there more red or is there more green? Is it pretty much even? Do you see more red? Do you see more green, or is it even? So most of you are saying down. Most of you are saying that there's more deterioration than improvement in the U.S. economy since the last meeting. And it certainly feels like that, right? It certainly feels like there's more red, there's more green, there's more bearishness than bullishness. But where it counts for the Fed, and this core CPI number is totally wrong. I apologize for that. I've got to update my table. Just realized that. But yes, while it may seem that there is more improvement than deterioration, more deterioration than improvement in the U.S. economy, the part that matters the most to Powell has not seen enough deterioration. And what I'm talking about is, first off, retail sales is up. A lot of it could be pre-tariff buying. I'm certain it is, but retail sales seems to be up. And the thing that the Fed, Powell, has been focusing the most on is the labor market. And even though we had a downward revision to the previous month's data, it certainly looks like, even though we had a downward revision to the previous month's data, you can see that it's still, 177,000, which is not all that bad. 177,000 is not terrible in terms of job growth. The unemployment rate remained unchanged. Inflation is lower, but CPI at 2.4 is still, pretty hot and still well above the 2% focus. And most important thing here, in my opinion, is that even though it may be above their focus, it's expected to trend higher, right? Because, all these tariffs are making goods more expensive. So Powell, and manufacturing activity is up. Powell has been very reluctant to basically cut interest rates. Last time we heard from him, he's basically said, things are going fine, or at least the numbers show that things are still relatively robust. And even though you and I both see a lot more red than we see green, it's still not enough. It's still not enough to really justify the Federal Reserve to cut interest rates. And if you look at, we like to look at the CME Fed Fund Futures. CME Fed Fund Futures, you will see that the market is pricing in a 97% chance of no change this month. So I think we all agree nothing's going to happen. Really, what's key for Powell is, what is his guidance? Is he going to tell us a rate cut can happen in June or not? And if we look at this, you can see rates are currently 4.25%, 4.5%. Market is pricing in a 68% chance of no change. Now, if you looked at this with me before, you may know that these can change a lot. But regardless of whether the fact has changed a lot, the market is still not pricing in an interest rate cut, in June. And so in other words, another way to say this is that they do not think that they do not think that Powell is going to say that even though we're leaving interest rates unchanged this week, we are moving towards a rate cut in June. They think that he's going to say nothing. And if that's the case, that could be dollar bullish. So really the guess here is not so much has this changed enough to move Powell to cut interest rates this week. We know the answer is going to be no. The question is this bad enough for him to say that an interest rate cut could happen next month? And the market still thinks it's a no. Now, it's of course, hard to tell, because, the predicting a number is a lot easier than predicting what's going to come out of someone's mouth. But, based upon what he said before, there definitely look, jobs is up from the previous month. Retail sales is up. There's not enough change to really justify a interest rate cut in June. So if he says nothing, it could end up rallying the dollar. So if you look at my heat map, even though I am neutral, from what's really interesting here is I'm neutral, because from what's going on in the markets right now, the overall bias of the dollar, it definitely looks like the dollar is falling. And definitely looks like, euro looks like it's moving upwards more. It looks like dollar yen is tipping lower again. But from a Federal Reserve perspective, which is really the main focus this week, I don't think that Powell is going to be dollar bearish. I think that Powell's going to actually be more neutral, which could end up providing a bit of a relief rally for the dollar. What about the bank? So if we look at the charts, you can see that if we look at our charts here, you can see, looks like dollar wants to fall against the yen. It looks like dollar is breaking to the upside. It's breaking above all my moving averages, which I love. I love moving average clearance. It's breaking above all my moving averages. It looks like this could rally, but we've got the Fed rate decision. So, we have to tread carefully ahead of that. The next one that we have is the Bank of England rate decision. And, the market is expecting the BoE to cut interest rates by 25 basis points. So the market is expecting the Bank of England to cut interest rates by 25 basis points. There's some red, there's some green, definitely more red than green. Because if you look at this, retail sales is up, but down from the previous month. Unemployment rate ticked higher. More people continue to file jobless claims. Earnings are lower. Inflation is easing on a year-over-year basis. It's more red than green, but still some green. But the market is steadfast in its belief that the BoE is not only going to cut interest rates this week, but they're going to do a lot more cuts this year. At least, I think, 3 more beyond this week. So if that is the case, then, we would not only need to see a rate cut, but we need to see dovishness from the BoE. I'm not certain that that's what we're going to get, but that's definitely what the market thinks is going to happen. It is, right now pound is unable to rise above the 5 SMA, and these SMAs do matter. And so I think, right now, if it holds the 5 SMA, then we may end up having a little bit of a sell-off here. But, please bear in mind, you get FOMC, if I'm not incorrect, on Wednesday, BoE on Thursday. And yes, FOMC on Wednesday, BoE on Thursday. It's really going to be Thursday after the BoE rate decision that we get clarity in the markets. Between now and then, it's going to really be about, what the market expects from the Federal Reserve. And so, I think it's going to matter less. It's going to be more based upon the US dollar trade than the BoE trade, which is not going to really happen until Thursday. But the market is looking for the Bank of England to cut interest rates. We also have a lot of Canadian data this week. CAD's been basically hugging the bottom of this chart. And so it looks like it's finding support, but it also still remains, dollar CAD remains weak. The Canadian dollar remains strong. And the reason for that is because, first off, Carney won the election. The market really likes Carney. And, they think the trade negotiations are going to happen. But this week we have Canadian trade data. We have, I believe, IV PMI. Ooh, Boris, what's that? Let me remove yours off the screen. Okay, so we have IV PMI, I believe. Am I correct? Maybe not, but we do have the Canadian trade data, and we have Canadian jobs numbers. And so, and I think we have IV. Let's check the calendar. Let's see. Let's get just the CAD data. Yes, we have IV tomorrow, and we have the trade balance. So IV is expected to be weaker. Trade balance expected to be weaker. Good chance, in my opinion, that job is probably going to be weaker as well. I definitely think there's a deterioration in the Canadian economy. So I think the risk is to the downside for this. So if we actually get that, we could be in for a much more significant bounce in dollar CAD because we're already consolidating here. We're already at the lows here. And so I think that it's just like waiting for a catalyst. May it be from the US dollar front, or may it be from the US dollar front, or may it be from the Canadian dollar front. But I do think it's waiting for a bounce. Now, of course, I will not be going long dollar CAD until we move above the indicator line and the background turns green like this. That's when I'm going to be waiting to go long dollar CAD. Otherwise, I'm just going to hang tight. So let's go through the economic calendar in general, and then we'll go back to the charts, and I'll turn it over to Boris. We'll move to live trading. So we had a bank holiday in Japan and the UK overnight. Aussie, we had stronger inflation data, weaker job ads, but still weaker inflation data, stronger job ads. But overall, Aussie data hasn't been that bad. Swiss data has been moving lower, but Swiss has been moving more based upon US dollar flows than anything else. We have ISM services today, which is very important. We have tomorrow, some ancillary data, nothing really all that significant until the US session, when we have the Canadian trade data. We have the U.S. trade data. We have IV PMI. Once again, these numbers are mostly expected to be negative for the Canadian dollar. The trade data from the U.S. will be interesting, but once again, I think the market's going to take it with a grain of salt because it's going to be distorted by, buying and selling off of the ahead of the tariffs. Yes, we have a bunch of final services PMI, But these are final numbers. And so revisions are hard to predict. If there are revisions, they can be market moving, but it is kind of hard to predict. We also have New Zealand jobs data, which is the markets expect stronger numbers, but I think there could be a little bit of weakness. Let me take a look at this. The unemployment rate is expected to tick up. Wednesday is FOMC day. So we have some ancillary data in the morning, but the market's probably going to be consolidating ahead of the FOMC rate decision. Fed is expected to leave interest rates unchanged, but the press conference will really be key from Powell. That's really where things are going to move. Then on Thursday, we have the BoE rate decision where they're expected to cut interest rates. And that's going to be the big mover along with the comments from the BoE governor and the inflation letter. And then on Friday, we have the Canadian jobs report. That's really going to be the main focus. And we also have the trade data from China, which will be interesting as well. So those are the main focuses for the calendar. In terms of technicals, like I said, technically it looks like Eurodollar wants to rally, but I don't expect huge moves this week ahead of FOMC. There may be some, small opportunities, but I think the market's going to wait for FOMC. But of course, the trade headlines could change that. If we get any interesting trade headlines, that could certainly lead to some big moves in the market. Dollar is lower across the board. So dollar Swiss looks like it could move lower. Dollar yen looks like it could move lower. So dollar yen. So we can see dollar yen, if it breaks below the 20 SMA, move lower. Dollar CAD, also a bit of consolidation. We can move higher. We already talked about dollar CAD. Pound dollar, that's more consolidated than anything else. So, I would definitely be watching this carefully for a break to the upside or the downside. Aussie's been very strong. This is a 5-month high for the Australian dollar. We're breaking out to the upside. We can move to the fibs to see where the fib resistance is. The next fib resistance is going to be at 65.50. So I think, Aussie could probably move up to 65.50, especially get more appreciation in the Asian currencies. That looks like a very nice breakout. Kiwi also moving higher. Resistance in the Kiwi up at 60.30. So that's basically what I'm looking for this week. Hopefully put you in the mindset of what to watch out for, what to expect from the Fed, what to expect from the Bank of England. If you have questions, let me know. Boris is going to say hello as he prepares all of you for live trading. Don't forget, our gold trading class kicks off this Friday, and our big discount sale ends in 24 hours. So make sure you lock in the great rates. There's so much, gold is on the move. We have a lot of really exciting ways to trade it, and some really great trading strategies, indicators, EAs that come with it. So make sure that you check out the gold link. I think Boris is going to drop that in as well. And let me see if any questions. Let me see if there's any questions here. There's actually, it's just BKT Gold is also a link, the bit.ly link. It's easier for you guys to remember. I'll drop that in there. Just BKT Gold if you need to write in yourself. So bit.ly BKT Gold. All right. Any other questions? Boris, you want to come in, say hello?
Give me just 1 second, Kay. Just 1 second. Just talk to them for a second.
Okay, so no problem. I'm sure Boris is setting up his trading screens. And, make sure that you are, watching my videos because a lot could happen this week. Like I said, the week kicked off not with talk of FOMC. The week kicked off with talk of tariffs again, and the Mar-a-Lago Accord and the Taiwanese currency surge and the talk of intervention. So a lot going on. How will the Mar-a-Lago Accord affect bond prices? Very good question, Park. If they are dumping U.S. dollars and moving away from U.S. assets, they're probably dumping their U.S. treasuries, which is part of the reason why U.S. yields are up. So it's probably going to drive yields up as well. We're going to be sending you the training links for Friday, either today or tomorrow, Martin. So definitely look out for that. If ISM is bad, do you think euro is going to fly or short move? If ISM is bad, I think, what it's all about is it if where the market's already selling off, if the dollar's already selling off, and you get a weak data that reinforces it, the power of the move, the momentum of the move is probably going to be stronger because it's reinforcing the market. If it's a stronger market may think, okay, you know, it's stronger, euro pulls back a little bit, but we may not see a deep pullback because, you know, other things are in focus. So that's why it's important. Christopher asks, Kathy, if you enter the trade exactly 6:30 a.m., are you flexible on that for the next 2 or 3 hours? We allow it to breathe sometimes for 2 or 3 hours, but usually with Zip, we just want it to work. We want it to work quickly. If it goes against us, we're out. So I usually don't trade Mondays, Sunday night Mondays, because we tend to not have much continuation. We did this morning. The dollar decline continued. But you know, usually we don't have a lot of continuation. Just today we had a very big move. But even if you sold right at dollar yen wasn't a trade, but if you went long euros because it was in the buy zone at 6 a.m. and we got this nice little hammer formation, that was a really nice move higher in the euro dollar. So hopefully that answers your question. All right, go Boris.
Okay, guys. Hey. All right. Sorry, I was just trying to get this informational page for you guys to see exactly what's in the course, which I wanted to share with you. Sorry, that's actually the screenshot. You can screenshot this, but in the course, you know, we put together a really great package for you guys. 13 on-demand videos. I put together a full MT4 and MT5 robot EA that trades one of our longer-term strategies in there. There's also a trading view version of that strategy and a trading view indicator of that strategy, which is really, really cool because you can apply that indicator to literally any instrument and back test the results any way you like, which is really, really awesome in terms of being able to just use it for other things instead of just simply trading for gold. Of course, it's optimized for gold. And I gave you my gold scalping strategy in there as well. So just a lot of stuff there that's very, very functional, very useful. If you screenshot this or if you QR code this, you can make sure that you have lock in the really big discount price. I'm going to leave that over there for just 1 second.
Yeah, let me show this. This is one of the strategies that Boris is going to show. I don't know why. Here, let me stop sharing.
You have to stop sharing and then start sharing.
Okay, then I'm going to share this again and show you this really cool strategy that Boris is teaching in the class, which has made 1,600% return in 5 years. So definitely check that out. It's, you know, a very, very powerful strategy that, you know, even if you're curious, hit the, you know, take the picture of the QR code, see, you know, exactly what you get. It's very, very, we made this very affordable because we know that the economy's not going so well. So, you know, we want all of you to be able to learn skills in order to make money in this down market.
Yeah. Somebody says, who's this? Somebody already took the course here. They said, awesome course. Very nice. Thank you, the Green Hippo. Very, very nice. Yeah. I was just looking at this strategy. Should have been called Trend Blaster. I just realized that's probably the perfect name for it because what it does is it really explodes in a high trend environment. And that's exactly what you're seeing in gold right now. So it's really optimized for that, you know, for that kind of a structure. So hopefully it should be really, really useful to you guys. The robot is actually the fully automated version of this strategy. So you could apply both an MT4 or Trading View, whatever you like.
That's why, you know, SP says it's ripped off. They just give basic course, but we give strategies. So you must have not taken the course because, you know, basic courses don't include strategies as well as EAs. So we include a couple of strategies as well as EAs. So I think that that is not correct information.
Yeah. All right. Whatevs. Everybody who's taken it, I've just gotten some very, very positive responses. And of course, there's 3 types of strategies in this thing. There is this long-term trend blaster strategy. There's an intermediate strategy that Kathy has done that's really good. And there's scalping, which is my bread and butter that you can do every day, all day long. All day. Oh, there we go. And speaking of scalping, we just made another P&L. So we're just going to put this up there for you guys. Enjoy it. We're going to start live trading in a minute or so. You know, I'll discuss everything that we're doing. But huge amount of concepts actually that came out of our day trading have been incorporated into the gold course. And those of you guys who have the gold course, of course, have the benefit of having that gold scalper indicator, which is really, really cool. What's Martin asking me here? Let me see. I can't see anything these days, guys. What is the S&P doing here? If he's not interested, okay, yeah, whatever. Look, there's always an asshole in the crowd, as we say in New York. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody has them. I have no problem. With that. Thank you so much. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everybody. These are people who have actually taken the course, and they're really enjoying it. I know they're enjoying it because I developed them myself, and I know how good they are because I traded them. And of course, these are all fully verifiable results. You can plug this into the TradingView strategy tester and absolutely replicate these numbers. So there's nothing here that I'm not fully open about. All right, I'm glad you guys liked it. I'm glad you guys love it. Everybody go out there, get it. It's the last day of the big discount. It's going to go up in price, so just lock it in. You get it for life. There's another question that people always ask me. Oh, is this like a time based thing? Is it going to expire in 3 months? No, you get all of this for life, baby. It's all yours. The indicators, everything, you own them. We give it to you. It's there. So it's a really good deal for anybody who wants to have a core gold trading approach, for the next 5-10 years when stuff like that is going to be really valuable. Okay, let me come off this slide. Hold on, wait a minute. Remove this, and I want to go to. Oh, sorry guys, hang a second. I gotta share my screen. I'm a little verklempt today. Okay. All right. Here we go. Thank you, Joe. All right. What else? A couple of other questions here. Is the indicator just for gold? It's designed for gold, but you can use it for. I mean, the honest truth of it, shit works great on NQ. I mean, I tested it on NQ. It works like a charm. So it works on. It's basically the strategy is designed for any high trending asset. I really should have called it Trend Blaster. Now, always you come up with the names after the whole thing is. That would have been a perfect name because that is a perfect description of what it does. It just blasts returns whenever you hit trend. Okay. What's the question here? Value for money. Thank you very much. The ZIP strategy loan, can that be bought separate? Yes, Sahil. Email me. Special, if you guys want to just get the ZIP, like there are a lot of people, by the way, I never address this because it's kind of like a off the menu item. But if you want to own ZIP for life, it's actually ZIP and BFF. I'll give you both for life. Hit me up. There's a special deal. You can have that. So no problem. Absolutely. What else? Okay. Again, it says he's in. Okay, very nice. All right. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Let's talk trading. Okay, let's hang out. Let me just see what else is going on here. There's a lot of people just annoying me today in every shape, way, or form. Let me see. Okay. I don't know what the hell it is. All right. Okay. You know what? First of all, let me go to my better layout so you guys have a bigger screen.
Hey, I'm so sorry. Boris, can you give me that code?
Yeah, that was you annoying me.
Yes. I didn't realize I sent it to your phone, but I need that code, please, because I'm trying to test this thing out.
I'm just going to have to, it's 255624, okay?
255624. Okay, thank you so much. All right.
No problem. Okay. Yeah, my life. Fabio's asking me, is wealth charts indicator ready? The good news is, yes, it is ready. Okay, so there's one caveat to the wealth charts story, which is you guys have to have a wealth chart. Like you got to buy the wealth charts package on Apex in order for me to enable. Like we're happy to do this, but you got to be a wealth charts customer. So if you're a wealth charts customer, it's enabled for you. I'll double check this, and I'll actually everybody who has the wealth charts package enabled, I'm going to email you today, okay? Because I got the email from Rob. We've just been very busy with the gold course, so I haven't had a chance to focus on that. So that is my next project is to bring everybody on board with wealth charts. But there are people who like bought the deal, got the free credits for an Apex account, but never open up an Apex wealth charts. So like, be my guest, go out there, open up a wealth chart. So let me just put the Apex code over here. So if you did that, it's all good. I mean, it's you should be able to have the account. Let me put this in here. This is the Apex discount code. Just buy the wealth charts with it, and then then I'll be able to enable it. Anyways, as far as wealth charts goes, I'm going to email everybody later today who is enabled already, and those of you who are not enabled but are eligible for it, I will email you and say, hey, here's the code. Go buy some wealth charts, and then we'll enable you. And then for those of you who want it but have not been enabled, all you got to do is just simply get the trading package. Let me just put the trading package in here. And I'm putting a lot of links in here, but there's just a lot of different demands that people want. If you want the deal, which is 6 months of everything, all my indicators, all my strategies, live trading with me, private courses, Kathy stuff, all the FX stuff, and the wealth charts stuff. This is the link, and I will give you. I was able to give you 5 before, but that's because Apex had a massive discount. Now I'm able to give you three 50K free accounts. I will give you the credit for 3 accounts. So if you want to do that, go take advantage of that deal right then and there. It's a really good deal. This is the deal basically. Let me show it to you. This is the deal where you get everything you want. Kay is asking me another one. Okay, hold on just one second, guys. I'll keep this on here. Let me just get rid of the boss here. 635723. Okay, just bear with me a sec, guys. 635723. Okay, let me see if I can get this to her. Six, 3, 5, 7, 2, 3. Okay. All right. Anyways, that's the deal. Okay. Go out there. That's really the best deal you can get if you want that as far as prop trading. It's a really awesome deal. So that's the story here. All right. Enough. I feel like a NASCAR race driver with all this stuff. So let me go back to charts. Okay, sorry. So again, let me just clarify for everybody. Having a wealth charts account is not, it does not grant you the right to have the BFF indicator. You have to have the package I gave you, because that's the deal. You got to have the package, then I'll give you the BFF indicator. It's great you have a wealth charts account, be my guest. But if you have that package, then you're going to get the wealth charts indicator on wealth charts. Okay, that's the deal that I'm making with you guys, and you will get 3 free wealth charts 50K accounts because I'll subsidize that for you. If you don't have wealth charts, you get that deal. Open up a wealth charts account and you get all of that stuff right then and there. So just to clarify, it goes the other way around. If you start out with a wealth charts account, you don't get to have the BF indicator. You got to have that deal. That's the trade I'm making with you guys. Okay. Okay. How do we get access to prop accounts? David, you just got it, right? You just got it. I'll be sending. What you do is, I'll send you the credit, and you simply go to Apex. I'm going to send you the link here. Go to Apex. Use our link. Use our discount link. Buy the accounts. But what I will do is I give you credit in your purchase to be able to use that credit to purchase the 50K accounts. Okay. All right. Are we done with all the commercials at this point? Any more commercial comments from me? We're ready to trade. Somebody, are we ready to rock and roll? Because I got so much interesting stuff to talk to you about trading. Right? You guys ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to trade. Are we ready to rumble? Oh shit, we actually have a setup, guys. Hang on. We gotta get long here. Where are we? 44 seconds? Okay, no, I gotta wait. We actually have a legitimate 3-dot reversal setup in NASDAQ. but it's got about 30 seconds to go. I'm going to wait patiently here until the setup turns. Wow, we really flipped around. That's a big move here. Shit, 14 seconds. God damn, this candle is so big. Okay, 8, 9. All right, I'm only doing one lot. This is another interesting thing I want to talk to you about. There's so many cool things. All right, I'm just doing one lot. I'm gonna get right over here. I'm gonna have to stay underneath. This candle is just fuck. I'm gonna have to stay underneath this candle. It's a big ass breakout candle. All right, this is a big risk. I'm just taking one size on this. So I want to tell you first and foremost, kind of the most important aspect that I realized. Just trying to figure out all the things that I want to discuss with you. Let's talk about I'll put a lot of my thoughts on my Twitter account. So let's talk about some of the things that I want to talk to you about as far as trading goes. Let's go to my profile. By the way, people are asking me when do I trade Europe? This is a little bit out of date, obviously, but it's Tuesday, Wednesday, 1945. I'm gonna change this thing, and it's gonna be permanently posted on here as to when I trade Europe as far as the links go. But as far as there's two thoughts I really wanted to share with you. Okay, so this is what I wanted to share with you. Oh, by the way, let's just take a look at this. Are we going to hit the target? Are we up there? Come on, baby. Wow, it's a big-ass move. All right, you know what? Fuck it. Nah. This is so far extended. All right, you know what? I have no patience. Fuck it. I'm out of this trade. I don't want to bother with this trade. I want to talk to you about concepts for a second, because that was a big ass risk, and I don't want it to go against me. So here's what I kind of wanted to talk to you about. I can't tell you how many times you see charts like this, right? And this is a useless chart. I know you think it's really, really, intelligent, and there's so many interesting things. So there's an analog here, and a failed head and shoulders here, an exhaustive balance here, and it holds at the 300% retrace for the massive bounce, and then there is this fake out over here, right? What is this chart about? This chart is about telling you what has already happened with hindsight. You're so fucking brilliant to actually say, oh, look, price stopped at this particular arbitrary point, which is 350% of retrace, and therefore that means something. It means dick all, because the next time it's going to stop at 75% or maybe at 20% or whatever, okay? You're just basically marking up yesterday's price movement, starting to sound smart. Anytime I can pick any chart and say, look, it was a 23% fib retracement. It was a 78% fib retracement. It was a 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wave count on Elliott wave, right? My favorite comment about Ellioticians is, what's Ellioticians' favorite instrument? Let's see if you guys can answer that question. What is the single most useful instrument for anybody who does Elliott wave count? Let's see if you can answer that question. The first person who answers that question properly, I'm going to give you a free 50K account. I'm going to subsidize it for you. Talk to me. Give it to me. Let's see if anybody can figure out. What is the Elliotician's favorite instrument? The past, yeah. Oops, Evgeny, man, you're in Russian. Back to English, my friend. None. Stacy says, but go in on third wave. Yeah. No. The real answer, my friends, Elliotician's favorite instrument is the eraser. Okay? Is the eraser. My point to everybody is that this is complete bullshit. Okay? And when you see what I was talking about, is I was saying I really don't understand this perpetual human need to project the future, to forecast the future. Well, we all know you can't fucking forecast, 2 minutes in front of your nose, much less, 2 months ahead or 2 years ahead, when you can just trade the present. This whole live trading experience is really all about trading the present. We don't care where the 28-day period moving average, whatever, 10 years ago support resistance level is, because they're all bullshit. They're all arbitrary. They all cannot have any predictive power at all. That's why every technician never trades his own money, right? When you start trading your own money, you realize that the only money to be made is in the present, not in the future, right? So yeah, everybody's giving me all these answers. So that's really the approach that I come with. That's why, I love scalping for life, because scalping is all about trading the present. And in here, the present that we trade is the present that we see on the 2-minute chart. And the techniques that we use are obviously the techniques that that help us make money on a consistent basis, right? Now, are we right all the time? Of course not. But are we right most of the time? And the answer is of course. That's the difference, right? That's the difference. We're right most of the time, and we take very, very small risks continuously. So that's kind of like the first point I wanted to put, to explain to you, that stop thinking about the future. I don't know where the NASDAQ is going to be an hour from now. I have no fucking clue. Are we going to be above 20,000 or below 20,000? It's reasonable to say that markets are kind of negative today because Trump is still on a warpath with tariffs. Everybody's starting to freak out and think that this is going to have a permanent economic transaction. It's also reasonable to think that he's playing the massive poker game with everybody, and everybody's going to come and fold. And if they fold, it'll be the greatest economic boom we've ever seen in our lives, right? Nobody is talking about that, but that's a totally possible scenario. We don't fucking know. That's the point. Any asshole on TV who says, yes, this is the way it's going to go is an asshole, okay? Ask him to bet his whole year's salary in his opinion. How many people will take that bet? Zero on TV. Zero on TV. Say, okay, if you're so certain, give me your whole year's salary. Let's bet it on there. Let's see how many of them are going to go that way. So when you actually start betting real money, I think it's very important to understand that we trade the present. So I hope you guys appreciate that. That's what makes the live trading experience so much fun, because I don't try to forecast dick all, really, at all. I'm just trading what is in front of my eyes. And what's in front of my eyes right now, sometimes just like right now, nothing. Like it's just noise. There's like literally nothing. There's no direction in front of my eyes, right? But within that, we have a structure of rules, very, very simple rules that create possibilities of profit, right? One of those simple rules, like right now, is this is actually a trend signal. The blue is above the red, so we're positive trend. And we have like a big breakout candle. And so therefore, since we always want to trade with trend first and foremost, we're going to go long on this candle. This candle is massive. What the fuck's going on here? Do we have, no, ISM is today. Is ISM today? I already forgot. Is ISM today? Okay. So having that candle be so huge, we want to just basically, see if we can take a small clip over here on the move here. Big extension. Let's see if we can take it. Come on. There we go. So first and foremost, I kind of want to just sort of reaffirm. When you're trading the present, the most intelligent thing you can do is trade trend, right? Trade trend. Because that's what the present is. If there is trend, you want to trade that. We define trend in very simple, clean terms of, hey, blue above the red, that's positive trend. Blue below the red, it's negative trend. If we get a green signal for positive trend, a red signal for negative trend, we're going to go, right? That's like bread and butter of what I do. Everybody give me a yes if you guys sort of understand what I'm saying and agree. Yeah, ISM is in 15, right? PMI is in 1 minute, ISM is in 15. Let's see, did the PMI come out? Let's just see what the PMI came out as. Worse. Services was 50. This is global though. This is global. All right, we'll see what the services comes out at 10. So give me some thumbs up if you guys are vibing what I'm saying, which is trend is the present, right? If you have trend, that's your present. That's your present reality. That was another thing. There was an interesting thought. Hang on a second. Let me. I did have some really intelligent thoughts on my Twitter feed. I kind of want to share with you because they're all riffs on all these trading ideas. So this was Buffett. Buffett, of course, resigned. Buffett resigned this weekend. He's going to be chairman. He's no longer going to be whatever the fuck president, whatever he was before. But he said something that I thought was really, really interesting. He said, if it makes it doesn't make a difference whether your stocks are down 15%, you need to get somewhat different investment philosophy. The world is not going to adapt to you. You're going to have to adapt to the world, right? I think that's a really interesting thought, almost a throwaway thought on his part of how you need to trade. It doesn't matter what you think. You can't make the market adapt to you. You have to adapt to the market, right? And one of the things that, for example, for me, somebody who loves to trade counter trend, right? I can't make the market adapt to my idiotic bottom fishing and top fishing strategies, right? I mean, I love to just fade every move, whether it's up or down, and it's always idiotic. Like you always see me paying the price for it, right? So that's, I think, like a really interesting point that whatever it is that you do stupidly, you need to realize the market isn't ever going to accommodate you. The market isn't ever going to go, oh, Boris, you're such a genius top picker, bottom picker. I think I'm going to change my whole market structure and accommodate you. And now you'll be able to make money forever because you figured out how great you are at picking turns, right? You're an idiot. So you have to adapt to the market, not make the market adapt to you, which is one of the things, obviously, is, of course, I've had to really learn how to respect and trade trend, right? And respect and trade trend well. The great thing is, of course, what I do for everybody, including myself, is I create the best possible tools to help guide me in that direction. So with BFF, the scalp trading component of it guides me very, very cleanly and clearly through trend, right? You can see I'm selling here, selling here, selling here. I'll explain this in just one second. Selling here on trend and buying here, buying here on positive trend, right? So that's number one. Now, this is, trading this, trading trend mean that you can never trade counter trend? No, you can trade counter trend, but only in a intelligent, methodical manner that the indicator tells you to, not in your own, hey, I kind of feel it's overdone, stupid way of approaching things. So one of the other components we have here, and this is yet another thing that I've really learned to realize, you have to adapt to the market, can't make the market adapt to you. Our counter trend structures only kick in if there's 3 consecutive counter trend signals against the move, right? So in this particular case, it's hard to see it, but this is because I think I have so many labels over here. Let me see if I can get rid of the settings. I'm showing you all my trades just to show you. Yeah, so I want to show you. I'm showing you all my trades to show you how much more, because you guys can see that the P&L is growing nicely, right? How is it? How is that happening? It's happening because I've had these come to Jesus moments, over the weekend in terms of what I should be fucking doing. By the way, definitely a trend signal over here. No, sorry, that's not a trend signal because we already took this one. This is the second trend signal. Never mind. So the only way intelligently that we can trade counter trend is if we have 3 consecutive counter trend signals. So this is a downtrend. We have 3 consecutive greens, right? Therefore, this was the only legitimate counter trend signal trade. And as you can see over here, if I go into settings, right? I got long over here. This was the resolution, and I resolved over here, right? Again, picking counter trend properly, right? Now, the last thing I kind of want to say is, if trend is the dominant reality, and counter trend is its very weak cousin. What we should be doing is, in terms of sizing, this is another thing that I realized kind of as I was trading, is that we should be trading trend at double the size. So my typical structure where we're coming in early on the candle, and if the candle confirms trend, we add a second unit right on the close of the candle, stay on that double size on trend. Whereas on counter trend, even if we get the full 3 counter trend signal structures, we should be trading only 1 unit, whatever 1 unit is for you. This way, you're much more likely to be a winner on more trades at double the size because you're trading with trend, right? Does that make sense? Do you guys agree with me on that? It's just that I thought I had, in terms of just the final tweak on sizing and structure, which is that all counter trends, and again, it's a shortcut. You can modify this 1,000 different ways. If you're a mathematician and you want to do perfect trade structure, maybe you want to go 0.7 against 0.1, whatever the fuck you want to do, be my guest. I'm just simply keeping my life simple because too much mathematical calculation stresses my brain out. So I just do double size on trend, single size on counter trend. Keeps me happy, and it certainly does the job of running the P&L, right? So that's like another interesting thing that I want to do. And then the final thought I had, I think this is really the key. Like, honestly, if I were to say, what is the single biggest reason I lose? Single biggest reason I lose, and I bet you this is the single biggest reason you lose. It's not even something you thought about. You know how everybody tells you, you got to be patient, right? You got to be patient. You got to be patient. You got to be patient. You got to wait for the setup. You got to wait for the setup. Wait for the setup to occur. Which is, yeah, that's true. That's true in like the most banal, conventional, obvious fucking way that everybody tells you to. Like, it's basically so stupidly obvious, it has almost zero value in its assessment. Because the real problem isn't us being patient for the setup, right? Here's where the right patience comes in. Right patience comes in is when you watch a setup and you're late, like, you miss it. You went to go get a cup of coffee, you have to go walk your dogs, whatever. You come to the desk and you're like, oh, fuck, this was the setup over here, but I'm going to go over here. This was the setup over here, but I'm going to go over here. How many times do you do that a day? It's not even like, I don't even lie to me that you don't ever do it. My question is, how many times a day do you do this? Which is that, oh, this was the setup here. I just missed it. I'm still good. I want to come back here, right? The real patience, the real skill is to not do a damn thing when you've missed your setup until the next time that setup shows up on the chart. That is, you're not allowed to do a chase trade. You have to, the true patience in the world is not, waiting for your setup to show up. The true patience in the world is not chasing your setup because you're fucking late, which happens all the time. Am I right on that? Right? But that's the point. Rick, tell me, who else agrees with me? Let's do a poll. I'm actually curious. And let's do a poll, because I think that's really the key to, wait, no, I don't want to do Q&A. I want to do a poll. Hang on a second. I want to do a poll. It's a loaded question, but it's fine. It's fine. Is missed setup be your biggest trading problem? I'm actually curious. Let's see how many people. I just posted a poll. Please vote, because there's a lot of people in the room here today. Let's talk about that. Is missed setup your biggest trading problem? We got 52 seconds. We actually have a legit signal now. Trend signal over here. Yellow candle obviously showing you it's a double. It's a green and a trend signal. I'm going to wait patiently here until it gets to about 30 seconds to enter my first trade, and if this doesn't hold, see, look at that, it went away. That's why we don't touch. So now that this is kind of pussyfooting around, I'm only going to wait for the close of this candle and do a single entry trade on this to, if it legitimately holds the trend signal. Let's see. It's holding. All right, in. All right, let's move this over here to over here. Stop underneath here. Let's see if we can get a movement here. Come on, baby. Come on. Ah, fuck. Come on. Okay, gonna have to stay on this miserable trade for a while. Let's see if it extends. Anyways, let's go. Peter saying, I found can lead to drawdown losses and then revenge trading begins. Yes, absolutely. Mistrading is, I think that's the, I lost the gold trade this morning because I was sleeping. Aha, South American. Yeah. Where are you from, Fernando? Are you from Argentina? Where are you from? Oh, good. We're done. See, I wasn't looking. This is the number one rule of trading. Never look at the chart. The moment, if you don't look at the chart, you're guaranteed to take profit. That's my, if I am definitely not superstitious, but that is the one superstition that always works in trading, right? I'm looking at comments. I'm not looking at the chart. Boom, done. South Dakota. No, I was asking, who was it? Fernando, who was saying that he's South American. So therefore, of course, he was doing this. Yeah. Wow, Gina. Do you know that? Okay. Fun fact for everybody. Okay. So Gina just made me realize something. Okay. The island of Manhattan, which is just one borough in the city of New York, which is just one little city in the state of New York State, right? The island of Manhattan is divided into Manhattan North and Manhattan South, right? Just to let you guys know. The division is the 59th Street. So everything below 59 is considered to be Manhattan South. Everything above 59th Street is considered to be Manhattan North, okay? Fun fact. There are more people that live in Manhattan North than live in North Dakota. There are more people that live in Manhattan South than live in South Dakota. Ponder that for a second. I thought that was an incredibly fun little fact for all you guys to know. Oh, Brazil. Okay. Nice. Thank you. But how wild is that? The little rock island of 24 miles that I sit on, there are more people in Manhattan North than in North Dakota and Manhattan South in South Dakota. It's really wild, right? So the bottom line is, it just says there's a lot of space in the Dakotas where there's no human beings. That's just basically what it says. Anyways. Okay. So what I want to ask you. So patient, how's the poll? Let's see. Everybody's saying, a lot of people, 65% of people are saying, yes, missed setup is the biggest problem. So my point is, patience is not the art of waiting for your setup. That's the most obvious, ridiculous aspect of it. Patience is the art of waiting for your next setup. That is the key. That's really, I put that up there today, and I really want to talk about this because I think that's really the key to good, successful trading. Where the hell is this? This is it. Patience is very minuscule. Most think it's simply waiting for your next setup to trigger. That's obvious. Much more important is to wait for the next setup once you've missed the current one. That's I think the most important thing. If nothing else, just take that away from today's trading. I think it'll really, really help you. It will really, really help you. That's because you're an East European, Evgeny. See, if you were a simple North American who just doesn't doesn't have too much intellectual curiosity, you would just simply follow the rules and trade well. That's right. You need to be you can't be like this overeducated, angst-driven East European like we all are. Okay. You're not. Okay. No, I'm just kidding you. I'm kidding you. Russians, by the way, are like really, I remember it was really, really funny when I was at FXCM ages ago. So like, I forgot what fucking scheme Drew had in his mind, but I remembered like, I think we went to like, no dealing platform for a while, like just trade. Basically, we went to agency mode where we were offsetting all of our trades, and there was a commission built in, and like everybody in the world got this platform except the Russians, because the Russians were so smart, they figured out like bullshit. You guys are charging us too much, that we had to actually lower the commissions to the Russians, except everybody else, because they were the only ones that figured out that that they could game the platform. It was really, really funny. So we used to have like one price feed for the rest of the world and one for the Russians. It was really, really cute. Okay, so we did explode, and this is again, my point is that we traded trend. Now I didn't take the full big move. I don't care. That's the other thing you need to understand. You need to know what you're good at. I'm not good at doing large big trades. A lot of you guys are, so do that. That's my other thought today, which I did not post on Twitter, but I think that's really kind of the most important thing. Do what you like. I know this is like the complete opposite of what they tell you. Do your discipline. Do this. You should do what you have to do, not what you like. Bullshit. Do what you like. I finally figured this out. And you know how I figured this out? Okay, I'm going to tell you my personal little risk story today. I'm going to bore you to death with all my personal stories. So remember, I've been like, I came back from Paris. I've been trying to drop like these, 5 pounds off of me for a while, and nothing fucking works. Like nothing works because, I can't like eat half a sandwich or some shit like that, whatever. Until I finally figured out that all I'm going to do is eat romaine lettuce, a slice of steak, cucumbers, and some olives, lemon, olive oil, salt. That's all I eat, right? Now you're like, that is disgusting. Like that's pretty much almost prison food. But here's the thing. I like it. I like that dish. I like it to eat it every day. I'll eat it every single, meal of my, that'll be my big meal of the day. And it works. You know why it works? And I've been dropping weight. It works because I like the food that I'm eating. And I realized that you're never going to do anything in life that you don't like, right? You're never going to diet on some stupid shit that tastes horrible because they tell you that's what you're supposed to be eating. You're never going to trade some stupid way that is completely contrary to your personality, right? There are lots of people in the room right now who fucking hate the way I scalp for like 5-10 points, and you should never do it. You should take that signal and run it for 50 because that's your personality. There's people in the room who trade really, really well for 50, 100 points off the same signals, right? So that's the beauty of it. You have the tools to do what you like. The tool is there to help amplify what you do best. You use it, it's your ticket to success. But absolutely, we don't hear sirens. We just have like everybody screaming today. Do you hear this, guys? Do you hear the freaking horns downstairs? Somebody's pissed. So, that's the key. That's the key to kind of understanding it, right? Rick says, audible alerts on TradingView really help. Training myself to become a Pavlov trading dog, run when the bell sounds. Yeah, I mean, that's good. Remember, I don't do alerts because I would have an alert every 2 seconds. It would just be, too much. I'm just simply trading myself visually on a visual cue. But what I really, the one thing that I really kind of taught myself is I'm not trading reversal. I'm not trading a turn until I get a legitimate turn signal. Like doing that, yes, I like trading turn, but I got to do it when the turn signal is legitimate. It's just like, I I like eating salad. I'm going to eat that one salad. That's what's going to work. Ashwood says the thing. It's probably not because it's probably you probably haven't set it up to be in trend mode. Ashwin, I have it. We're going to go through wealth charts structure. Probably next week. We're gonna incorporate everybody into wealth charts, and then I'm gonna have a special wealth charts not private, but public YouTube webinar. I'll invite everybody to it, where we're gonna just simply do the whole configuration and everything else, and make sure there's gonna be some differences just by the nature of the platform. But I'm almost certain that you could turn wealth charts is very customizable. So all of the intelligence is built into wealth charts. It's just simply probably not turned on. So I'll show you how to turn it on and all that stuff. Yeah. Yes, you hear the horns, right? Exactly. You hear the horns. All right, who's this asshole? Goodbye. Get the fuck out of here. There's always like I noticed that like lately, it must be because we're getting popular, because we're attracting assholes, right? There's always one asshole comes in, whatever agenda he has, to sit there and start bitching. Like, not give me, rational, constructive criticism, but like, you're fake, you're bullshit. I'm like, fuck you. You just see me trading live right now, literally live, literally my own account, literally see the P&L on the account growing. How the fuck am I fake? So anyways, sorry guys. The rule is anybody who's an asshole gets banned in the room right away. They're not coming back. Alcatraz. You heard that Trump wants to revive Alcatraz. So this is going to be our own version of Alcatraz. We put him into Alcatraz. You're in Alcatraz. So anyways, those are kind of the thoughts I had, which is, hey, reality is trend. We trade trend. Reality is the present. Let's trade present. You missed the setup. Don't take the setup. Wait for the next setup. Kind of simple rules in conjunction with, of course, the great tools that we have. And that creates a lot of really, really interesting possibilities. Certainly creates really, really nice. You see this P&L. The P&L has been. I left you guys. I was under 52, right? Excuse me. And now this is like on Friday I left you on under 52. Now I'm above 52. So let's hope I do as I say, and we can ride this pony to target. Okay. Yes. Now, so the other thing is, you notice I have not really looked at gold at all today. Just trading NASDAQ, and I know you guys love to look at gold, and I realized. Remember, I said do what you like. Like here's the reason why it's not even like a narcissistic thing to say do what you like. There's actually a very, very intelligent reason why do what you like as advice in life, period, is a really good advice. And that reason is that when you like doing something, you will do it well. If you do it well, the natural aspect of that is that you're going to get rewarded for it generally, right? Because you're going to do something well because you do something right? So that brings me back to gold, which is, you guys fucking know, I don't like trading gold. It's not like I'm happy to point out trades for you in gold, but I don't fucking want to trade golds, because every time I trade gold, it fucks me up for all my other trades, and and I'm just not interested. But you guys love trading gold. You guys, Sweetwater trades gold all day long. And I don't mind trading gold in Asia. It's weird. I don't like trading gold in North America on futures. I don't mind. I love trading gold on CFDs in Asia. So, hit me up there and I'll trade gold with you all the time. In fact, that's my favorite thing to do in Asia, because it's really, really clean and clear. So I just kind of realized, you know what? I'm going to trade NAS with you guys today. And you can see NAS results have been really, really good so far, right? That's the difference. That's kind of what I wanted to sort of show you. See, Rick says he loves gold and that's all he trades. And that's great. You're the man. And that's the beauty of having BFF. You can do what you want with the structures that I show you, right? Oh, actually, let's. So final poll of the day. So 2/3 of the people agree that missed setup is your biggest trading sin, and I think that's good because when you realize that, that is something you can totally fix. That is patience. That's when somebody tells you be patient, that's what you really should be doing. As long as you can do that, you're good to go, right? You're good to go. All right. Let's do one more poll. Well, let me finish this poll. End this poll. And this is an interesting, I'm just really curious because I don't want to impose my ideas on you. You got to make a choice. What do you like to trade more? And I'm going to say NQ or GC, which is gold, and here NASDAQ, just in case you don't know what this means. All right, let me know. I'm curious what what you guys in the room are trading, because I think it's it's kind of interesting. So, guys, I totally talked through ISM. I did not even talk about ISM. Whoa! Oh no, it's not that horrible. I mean, it's bad, but not horrible, right? So business was 53, new orders was 52. That's actually pretty good. Fuck, that's really pretty good. What is that? Is that prices paid? No, services. That's the. Where's the prices? Prices were hot. Huh. Interesting. So kind of a mixed PMI, but nothing horrible. Interesting. Let's see what the analysis from everybody is. I guess headline is a little bit better, but prices are still a little hot. What does DH say? It says that's true that if Senate Republicans block the confirmation of Ed Martin, anti-Trump activist judge, he's the same one who's blocking. We'll go. Yeah, it's turning stuff. Huh. That's interesting. All right. So I think one of the more interesting stories so far, we have to see if it's just simply the last vestiges of growth, is just how robust the economy has been relative to expectations, right? NFPs beat, ISM beat. The economy is just like Terminator. It is not coming down despite all of this policy shock that we've had thrown at it. Now, a lot of people are making a pretty legitimate point, saying, "Hey, tariffs haven't really kicked in. The cost container ships are really not kicked in." But on the other hand, I know Trump's playing a very dangerous but tough game, because Chinese apparently are dying right now. 60 million unemployed. Factories are shut down. They're really hemorrhaging because you stop demand right there at the point of contact. It just reverberates all the way down the line. So we'll see if people capitulate soon enough, because if they do, like I said, there is a outside chance argument you can make that if they come to a global consensus, let's say 10% tariffs, no bullshit, no fucking around, no intellectual property theft, that actually opens up a boom time for U.S. economy. I mean, it's an outside chance. I would say it's like a 15% chance that could happen, but still, it's interesting to see that in the price action. G-Fuzz, you saying ES is your weapon of choice. That's what you like to trade, which is great. I used to love that too. Yes, absolutely. It's really good. So here there's a whole zip course it's called Forex Fundamental Course, where Kathy just tells you how to set up zip completely. So you can just watch that. It's all part of the BK community. Oh, I forgot to put this link, everybody. Go out here. If you are new right now, go join our community. That's totally free. That's right there and there. Oh, I should be watching this signal. Hang on a second. No, did not go. I thought we had a buy signal here, but we don't have a buy signal. Okay. So go join the community, guys. Totally free. Has my day trading course, which explains all of the strategy in BFF. Has Kathy's zip course, which is her Forex fundamentals course, which has the strategy in zip. That's all literally free. You can just join, watch all those courses. If you want the indicators, you can come in. If you want all those indicators, that's where you go out there and get my deal. You take the whole trading bundle, you get all the tools, and I will give you 3 50K accounts for free. I will subsidize those, whether you want to do them in Tradeovate or Wealth Charts, up to you. I'll fully subsidize them for you. So, what do we see? We saw pretty consistent downward sell-off all throughout Asia and Europe on more concerns, especially Trump putting a 100% tariff on Hollywood. I don't know what the fuck he's doing, but that weighs on Netflix, and Netflix is a major component of NASDAQ. And then you had a recovery and a buy-up of below the 20,000. Now it's really an interesting story because are they going to hold the 20,000, or is this just simply a week or a rebuy and they're going to start to push it back? If they start breaking it down, my friends were saying that the real area of support is going to be 1990. But right now, the reality is we're looking at is a buy signal. We have a buy signal here, which we need to go and see if it holds. I'm actually waiting for it to close on a buy. I'm not committing to this because it's a relatively weak trend signal. So 5, 3, 4, 2, 1. All right. We're long here, and I want to get out here. Ooh, get out here. Come on, baby. Come on. Almost there. Good. And we're done. I didn't even have a chance to move my stop. Now, one of the things, if you're new and what you're seeing, what makes BFF so cool is that the indicator will give you suggested stops and targets the moment the trade triggers. And then what that does is it makes it very, very easy for you to drag yourself to, and that suggested stop and target is your own to configure. Mine is configured at around 0.5 of risk, but sometimes 0.7 of risk. Anyway, it's a neighborhood play. I'm not. I'm never about specific details. I'm more about being. I'd rather, as John Maynard said, I would rather be generally right than precisely wrong. But what this does is it allows you to be generally right. I can go very, very quickly to my take profit target, and then I can also set my my risk right below the candles and run the trade this way very, very easily. What the process that I've done. And this is on TradingView, and I'll do the same thing on Wealth Charts, is you create like a broad level of brackets. On NASDAQ, I believe it's 100 tick. Let me see what it is. 100 tick target. So that would be like 25 points take profit and a 50-point stop. Now, those are just broad brackets. And then I compress them both to the target and to the stop based upon the intrinsic labels that are put up on the chart. So this allows me to both be in the trade with a guaranteed catastrophic risk and a target, as well as then adjust them dynamically to the price action. The key thing that makes BFF trading so good or scalping so good is that there is no specific stop and a target. It isn't predetermined. We don't impose our stops and targets on the market. We are very, very organic in a sense that we trade the market. However, whatever is the volatility, whatever is the possibility, that's what we trade given the candle size. That's why you see me going, if I have a really, really large candle, I'm like, fuck, that's a lot of risk. Do I really want to take it? And sometimes I'll just pass it up. So that's the other great thing about it is it'll tell you, okay, now you're risking like 50 points on this particular trade because that's where the risk should be underneath this candle. Do you really want to take that? So that's what makes it so much fun, and it's so much fun to trade. Anyways, another good session, guys. We started underneath 300. We're above 300, right? Nice clean. I was trading super small today, but that's okay. My job is I just need to walk this over to 53,000. Hopefully this week, and then then it's another account funded, and then we'll start trading the funded accounts. Again, all of the questions you're asking me, how do I do this? How do I do this? It's all in my free day trading course, which you can just simply get to by joining our room, right? Because that's, there's a lot of information. It's all recorded in 4K. You can go through it all. It's super cool. All of that stuff is in the course. In live, we just simply execute the ideas. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you, everybody. Guys, it was a lot of fun. Good trading session today. Back to business tomorrow. Oops, I got discontinued. What happened? Oops, connect. Okay, sorry. Trading view is like so sensitive. If you hit the wrong button, it's like anyways, what I was gonna say is we're back in business tomorrow at 9:15, and then tomorrow night for Asia. And it's that kind of interesting. Yeah, I know it's completely irrational, but I don't like to trade gold in New York, but I love to trade gold in Asia. So come join me in Asia, and we can trade gold together there. Thank you again, everybody. Have a great day. I hope you guys all have fun. Did you guys anybody take any of those NASDAQ trades with me? I'd love to know. Hopefully you guys scored a little bit on all those trades. Big G is asking me how much is the zip indicator. It depends what you want. If you want it for lifetime, just email me. But just come over here into our room and come join us. As a matter of fact, you know what? Before I go, so let me just hump. Everybody, go out there, get the golf course. Get the golf course. If you get the golf course, you get the gold course too. No, get the gold course. Really good product, and it has a scalper version in it that I think is even superior to the BFF scalper version. So getting it, really, it's kind of like an arbitrage. You could essentially have the scalper for life by getting the golf course. But if I say golf one more time, I'm going to hit myself. Getting the gold course. So and I know Green Hippo, you got it. I know a lot of people already got the course, but it's like one last day. Go out there, go get it. The tools are for lifetime. They don't have any timestamp on them. So it's a real arbitrage in terms of all the other tools that we have. And if you guys want to really trade hardcore with me, then take advantage of this product. So let me put up both of these. Here's the gold course link, and here is the trading link. I'll leave that with you guys so you guys can have a good time. All right. Thank you so much, guys. What are we saying? Gold up $400 today. Nice job. Nice job. Look at you guys. Good job. Good job. What platforms does Gold Course work on? Oh, that's the really cool part. So Gold works on TradingView, Gold works on MetaTrader 4, and Gold works on MetaTrader 5. So it's really cool. Yeah. So all platforms, which is very cool. Thank you, guys. Everybody have a wonderful day. Trading kind of a little bit sloggy today, but don't fret, because we still got a couple more hours to go, and you should be able to get some good signals. Slow, steady, scalp for life. I'll see you guys later. Everybody have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.